Works by Spanish sculptor Teresa Esteban Gomez featuring Islamic architecture are on display at the 22nd edition of the International Holy Quran exhibition in Tehran. Organized by Iran's Cultural Office in Madrid, the Spanish artist is displaying a collection of her wood sculptures and paintings in the international section of the exhibit. Her collection mostly reflects Islamic architecture, highlighting minarets, domes and arches. Teresa Esteban Gomez received her doctorate in fine arts in 1992 from the Complutense University of Madrid. She has displayed her works in different exhibits in several countries. The international section of the exhibit, which opened on July 6th and will be running for 10 days. China commemorated the 77th anniversary of the July 7th incident, or the Lu Guoqiao incident, which marked the beginning of China's war of resistance against Japan 1937 to 1945 that killed at least 35 million Chinese people. Around 1,000 people, including top Chinese leaders Xi Jinping and Yu Zhengsheng, attended the commemorating ceremony held at the Museum of the War of Chinese People's Resistance Against Japanese Aggression in southwest Beijing. Xi said the purpose of the ceremony is to remember the history, remember the martyrs, cherish peace, and remind future generations. On July 7, 1937, the Japanese army conducted a drill near Lu Guoqiao, or the Marco Polo Bridge, without informing the Chinese garrison, Kuomintang's 29th Route Army. During the drill, the Japanese army falsely claimed a soldier was missing and required to cross the bridge for a search. When the requirement was refused by the Chinese army, the Japanese opened fire. The battle caused great casualties to the 29th Route Army, and the incident triggered a nationwide war against Japanese aggression. Japan started its 8-year aggression against China beginning from the attack at the bridge, so the day of the incident is often regarded as a humiliation day by the Chinese. Transformers: Age of Extinction may be hitting a movie screen near you. Villagers in China are so inspired by the Hollywood creations they have given up their day jobs to make giant-sized robots. In Xiaoyi village, a small town in East China's Shandong province, Wang Shijun stands on a ladder to put the finishing touches on a sculpture. It is one of his team's latest creations. But this isn't a classical figure study or even a piece of abstract art. It is a 3-meter-tall futuristic robot inspired by movies such as Transformers. Wang guides a paint sprayer around the robot's chest, adding bursts of color to the metal form. It is the last stage in a process that begins with a careful plotting of the robot's features. Once the team has a plan, each piece of the robot is created individually. Workers make a base support structure and go from there. Every artist has their medium, and for these workers, it is scrapped car parts. A pile of discarded gears, cogs, and cranks sits in one end of their warehouse workshop. Nearby, workers use a power saw to cut up an old muffler. Other workers use acetylene torches to weld scrap auto bits into figures that are beginning to take shape as robots. Most of the workers here are welders, laborers, or factory workers before they decided to work together to follow a more creative pursuit. It is a change that's welcomed by welder Liu Feng. Outside, more finished figures tower over a pile of discarded car doors and mufflers. The workers source their parts from junkyards and used car markets such as those in the nearby provincial capital of Jinan. What was a Suzuki motorcycle yesterday is part of a robot's shoulder today. Movies like the Transformers series have been huge hits in China. The latest movie in the series, Transformers: Age of Extinction, opened in China to a record box office weekend haul of over $96.7 million. As a result, the workers' robot sculptures are in hot demand across China. This 52 feet tall creation stands outside the Dreamport Mall in suburban Beijing. People stop to stare and take photos of the huge figure. Children and teenagers pose in front of it for photos that they will post for their friends to see on Chinese social media websites. Yin Xueqing is one of those stopping to check out the enormous robot. The biggest robots can cost as much as $16,000 and take a month or two to make, but the team has no shortage of clients. They have already sold more than 100 of the sculptures. Most buyers are commercial firms or property developers. They like to put the robots in public areas or new developments like the mall in Beijing. It is a way to attract interest and attention. But even close to home, their robots can attract plenty of attention. The robots are so big and heavy that even many of the smaller human-sized ones must be disassembled to move. Zhang and the others use ropes and a small crane to hoist pieces of robots one by one. They are placed into the back of a flatbed truck to move them from the workshop. It is a big enough operation that it requires everyone to pitch in. This group of robots is ready to go to a buyer in Shanghai. It is a 15-hour drive from the village. Once they arrive, they will join the team's collection of the robots that they have found new homes all across China. Several monkeys became grabbers, robbing food from the passing residents recently in Guiyang, capital of southwest China's Guizhou province. The wild monkeys made frequent visits to the streets, overpasses and telegraph poles around Tuanpo Bridge in downtown Guiyang over the past month, awaiting food from the passers-by. Sometimes they even directly grab them when passers-by are carrying food. According to the video footage taken by a local resident recently, a monkey, not satisfied with the food given by the passing residents, rushed to grab a small bag of milk from a girl who had just come out of a supermarket. The girl was scared, but when she realized what had happened, the monkey had already climbed onto the telegraph pole where another monkey was staying. Currently, the Guiyang Wildlife Forest and Plant Station is trying to catch the monkeys and release them into the wild. Meanwhile, the station warns the residents to be careful of the monkeys. Japanese retailers say they are selling more summer gifts through their websites than last year. Japanese traditionally give gifts in the early summer and at the end of the year to people who have helped them as a token of gratitude. Tokyo departmental store officials say the most popular gifts are priced around $50. They say the sales figures for June were as good as last year. A manager of the Nihonbashi Takashimaya store in central Tokyo says many customers do not hesitate to spend money on gifts. He says they will try to maintain good sales to win the seasonal battle with their rivals. Stores are offering exclusive products through their sites along with special discounts for online customers. Departmental store officials said online sales of summer gifts have risen from the same period last year. Some outlets are reporting sales growth of about 30%. The retailers are hoping the online sales will help them to make up for the losses they suffered after the consumption tax was increased from 5% to 8% in April. A single bunch of Japan's Ruby Roman luxury grapes fetched a record $5,500 in this year's first auction. The brand name grapes are a speciality in Ishikawa Prefecture. They are larger and sweeter than other types of Japanese grapes. On July 5th, 34 bunches of Ruby Romans were put on auction. The record-breaking bunch was 800 grams and the stem contained 30 grapes. The bid winner works for a bridal ceremony company. He said he was priced at the higher than expected price, but he hopes the grapes will make for a very special wedding. Market officials said this year's Ruby Romans are bigger and fresher than last year's. The fishing season for grape shrimp, a rare type of prawn, has opened in Hokkaido. The prawns are so rare that only about a dozen kilograms are caught per day and only in waters off the town of Raosu in Hokkaido. They can fetch over 1,000 yen each. The first day's catch was about 30% lower than usual, but fishermen say the prawns are the average size of about 10 centimeters long. A fisherman says grape shrimp are sweeter than other prawns and have a firmer texture. He says they can be expensive, but they are delicious, and he hopes many people will give them a try. Showcasing Japanese culture and cuisine is drawing huge crowds in Sao Paulo, Brazil. The South American country is now said to be home to more than 1.5 million ethnic Japanese. Groups of Japanese Brazilians started the festival 16 years ago. It has since grown into the largest Japan-related event outside of the country. About 200 groups of Brazilians of Japanese descent and companies affiliated with Japan are taking part in the festivities that began on July 4th. The three-day event is expected to attract about 200,000 people. Regional specialities such as katsuo no tataki or lightly roasted bonito from Kochi and grilled herring sprinkled with salt from Hokkaido are especially popular with visitors. A group of Japanese Brazilian drummers perform for the crowd. Large numbers of volunteers are helping visitors to learn more about Japanese culture. Brazil is currently hosting the World Cup soccer finals. People wearing the uniforms of the national teams of Japan and Brazil are being admitted free of charge to the festival. One Brazilian man said this was a rare chance for him to sample Japanese regional cuisines. An innovative technician is using 3D printing to help reduce the recovery time for broken bones. Turkish designer Deniz Karasahin is attracting international attention after his osteoid medical cast won several design awards. 5-year-old Berkan Semirsioglu has cerebral palsy. The disorder causes limitations in mobility and development of the limbs, and Berkan needs a cast to stabilize his arm. Doctors have been treating Berkan with Botox once a month in order to paralyze the nerves in his limbs to enable him to have physiotherapy. But today, the Semirsioglu family are meeting designer Deniz Karasahin to scan Berkan's arm and prepare an osteoid medical cast that will be created from a 3D printer. Karasahin has designed a cast that can be printed in 3D. The scanner transfers information about Berkan's arm to modeling software, which will create a tailor-made cast. The cast can be printed in a wide variety of colorful options, allowing Berkan and other children like him to choose their own color. Berkan's father, Hamid Semirsioglu, says he heard about the 3D printed cast and set about getting one for his son straight away. Karasahin says he came up with the idea of a 3D printed cast after realizing that 3D printed technology was becoming mainstream. Karasahin created the osteoid cast in April 2014 with the idea of developing a fast recovery solution for broken bones, but he soon started a parallel study focusing on cerebral palsy patients. One of the benefits of the osteoid medical cast is increased comfort, according to Karasahin, as conventional casts have no ventilation, and as a result, they are itchy and limit the patient's exposure to water. In order to facilitate this, the cast has algorithmically generated ventilation holes. The holes also serve as adapters for low-intensity pulse ultrasound or LIPUS bone stimulator system probes. Karasahin says a course of treatment with LIPUS almost halves the recovery time for broken bones. The 27-year-old Turkish designer is a part-time lecturer at Izmir University Faculty of Fine Arts and Industrial Design. In 2013, he was awarded the European Golden A Design Prize in Digital and Electronic Devices for his osteoid medical cast, and the previous year he won the Silver A Design Award for furniture, decorative items and homeware design. Karasahin says the cast will soon be on sale at a cost of $680.